Republicans weighing a variety of options ahead of the president's pronouncement on immigration tonight. Some of the possibilities include suing the president or blocking some of his nominations maybe in the Senate. But House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi says Republicans should just back off.
What I would say to them is, look to Ronald Reagan, your hero. Look what he did to keep families united and to protect people in our country.
Well, let's talk about that, shall we? Tony Saig is a Fox News contributor. Bernard Whitman is a former Bill Clinton pollster and the CEO of Whitman Insight Strategies. Did Ronald Reagan do the same thing that the president's going to do tonight, Tony?
Absolutely not, Gretchen. I mean, this shows you one of two things. Either, again, Nancy Pelosi leading the deception machine that we saw with Obamacare and now with immigration reform, or she just fundamentally does not understand governing. I doubt the latter is true because she has been in Congress for so long. Ronald Reagan basically fixed a law Congress passed. He made statutory fixes because at that time the amnesty passed in 1986 did not include spouses and children, and he thought if we're going to have this law and grant amnesty to some people, we should include their spouses and children. George H.W. Bush subsequently did the same thing. In this case, Barack Obama is totally bypassing Congress, and that is where the real problem is.
He's right, isn't he, Bernard?
No, he's completely wrong.
How is he wrong?
This is exactly what 11 presidents over 60 years have done almost 40 times, and that is bring some sanity to the immigration process when Congress can't, won't, or chooses not to act.
Are you saying what he just said about Ronald Reagan?
By the way,
no, I'm saying fundamentally, Ronald Reagan sought to extend protections to kids.
Because Congress had already passed something.
H.W. Bush sought then to extend protections to spouses. That's exactly what the president's doing.
That's
exactly what the president's doing.
Was it based on congressional law? Yes or no?
The fact is, we have not updated.
Was it based on congressional law?
Yes, and this is also based on congressional law that is almost 30 years old. We have not had a rehaul of our immigration laws in almost 30 years. George W. Bush tried to do it, didn't get it done. Obama's been trying to do it with the House for 6 years, hasn't got it done. If the House had actually taken up, if the House had taken up the Senate bill
for 2 years and he didn't get it done.
The Senate passed a bill that would have granted amnesty to twice as many people as Obama's going to do temporarily.
Let me try to address this. First of all, going back to Reagan real quick, Reagan didn't do anything in an executive action that was rejected by Congress or he thought Congress was rejecting. In this case, the president's doing something that clearly is not only rejected by Congress, but as we learned today in the Wall Street Journal poll, 56% of the American people are against the president acting unilaterally. Now, let me tell you something else.
57% agree on a path to citizenship.
But Bernard,
I'm a pollster. I can spin numbers however I want.
It's not spinning numbers. These are numbers as of today. You are taking numbers from the past and trying to recycle them. No, that's number one. Number two.
Was earlier in the week.
Okay, but as it stands today, the executive action taken by this president does not have the support of the majority of the American people. Number one. Number two, the other very fundamental difference is Barack Obama had an opportunity to do this in the first 2 years. He chose not to do it.
So he couldn't get done.
So
you agree. So no, but you argue. Hold on, Tony. You argue that the Republicans
should. He had Democrats in the House and he had Democrats in the Senate, and he did not do it.
So we didn't do it 4 years ago. So families right before the holidays should be split apart. That's what you're arguing for. Republicans are usually pro-family. Republicans are usually pro-paying taxes. This law enables families to stay together. It brings people out of the shadows, makes them pay taxes. What about this?
Why is it that it's not important enough for the major networks to carry his speech tonight?
Because
NBC, ABC, and CBS, and who else? Fox, of course. The 4 major networks. We're going to carry it here. But the Fox other network is not going to carry it.
Here's why.
Why?
Here's why. It may be new action. It's not new news. Everybody's known this was going to come for months. I'm not at all surprised the networks aren't going to cover it. Why? Because people who want to see this.
Bernard, you denied this was going to happen last week on the show.
No, I didn't. I said it was going to happen. People who, and I should happen, people who want to follow this live can turn to Fox, can turn to CNN, can turn to online.
You're a good pollster because you're spinning that. Why are the networks not going to cover this?
The networks are pretty much told they didn't have to cover it by the Obama administration. There was no formal request made. Believe me, NBC would be at the archives watching this president burn the Constitution and trample on the separation of powers clause. Gretchen, the problem is that the president didn't get the bill he wanted. A bill passed in the House. In fact, 350 bills passed the House that never made it to the Senate, and they had bipartisan support.
Boehner couldn't get it to the floor because of the whack nuts in the Tea Party.
That's
why.
You know what? People who want border security are not whack nuts.
No, it would have passed the House. The Senate bill would have passed the House.
Obviously, this is a very divisive issue, and Americans want to hear what the president's going to say tonight, and more importantly, what's going to happen after that.
And he won't be fixing a thing.
I got to go. Thanks.
Thank you.
Army Sergeant, wounded in Afghanistan, is getting a new home today, thanks to an organization that's helping veterans like him in more than a dozen states. It's part of a growing effort to give those who defend America a chance to live the American dream. Jonathan Serry, live from Beaufort, South Carolina, where it's all happening today. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi, Gretchen. Look at this beautiful home behind me. This is the